Alright, what's cracking, everybody? So, um, new video. I'm in my gaming chair. I got my tripod that nobody's clicked on yet. It's all good. But, okay, so real quick. As you see from the title of this video, we're going to talk politics. If you think it was going to be prison politics, you should already know. It's not going to happen. So, in my experience, I mean, of course, it's not 100%, but when it comes to raza, right, it almost seems like we're born into two things, right? For the majority. One is Catholicism. Most raza is baptized as a baby in the Catholic Church, right? So one is Catholicism, the other is belief that the Democratic Party of this country is for you. It's for people of color. It's for minorities. And so I wanted to touch on that. So let's be clear from jump. I can't vote. I wish I could. You know, when you have something taken from you, be it your freedom, your right to vote, whatever it is, if you can have those things back, not only would you cherish those things, but you would utilize those things, right? So what I mean by that, how do you utilize your freedom? Before I was existing, right? When I was a criminal, I was doing things knowing I'm going right back to jail. Now I live my life. I'm active in my life. You know, I'm active in my community. And if I could vote, I would vote, right? And this video isn't to say be a Republican or be a Democrat. This is just something that I, in the shoe, well, in the prison period, you got a lot of time on your hands. And in the shoe, most guys study. You do a lot of studying, right? You have to fill your time because, this thing up here, if you don't use it, you lose it in there. You know what I'm saying? That's real shit. People that just sit in their cells, work out for maybe an hour, and then watch TV the rest of the day, you'll see them start losing this. So it's good to study. So while I was in prison, I studied. Mainly, my main focus was on our ancient history. You know, the Mexica history, Maya, all that. But you dabble in other things. And not only that, you start to realize certain things. So I was of the belief, like most, that the Democratic Party was for us. Even though if you look in their history, when there was slavery in this country, it was the Democrats that were for slavery, and it was Republicans that released the slaves. Again, this is not promoting the Republican Party at all. This is just to talk about something that I see and something that I wish would change, because we have the power to change it. And so let me tell you something. So in 1996, there was a law put into place out here in California, the anti-terrorist law, right? Anti-terrorism law. And in that, one of the things in there was you had 1 year to appeal your conviction, and after that 1 year, you were done. You were barred, right? Unless there were, like, I believe, two things, and if there's you find new evidence, and then there was something else. I don't remember what it was, but everybody in prison, especially back then, nobody knew about these laws and all this shit, and so, Vatos would get busted, and it's, most people had public defenders, and so they're not gonna file your appeal for you upon your conviction. You go to reception center. From reception center, you hit your yard, and you're not even knowing that if, let's say, you were innocent, let's say you did want to fight your case, you more than likely by the time you left reception and you hit their joint, a lot of the time was already passed, right? And so I remember the Democrats were when this passed, they were, they were all up in arms, and this is a racist law, and it's only gonna affect minorities, and this can't be done, and this and that, and they did their rant, they did their song and dance, right? But this is a California law, and so when the tables turned and the Democrats had the power, they had the majority and the ability to change that racist law that they said would only affect minorities, they didn't do it. They left it. And there's so many laws in our state that when Republicans had the power and they enacted these things, and the Democrats screamed and yelled because it was a song that sounded so sweet to the minority's ear. See, they're fighting for us. They're out there. They're like, fuck these Republicans. They're gonna fight for us. But every time they get in a position of power, they never change anything back. They never take anything away, right? And so I started noticing that, right? And I was like, it's bullshit. Both parties have the same agenda. They just have different paths of getting there. And our state has so many people of color. Like, so this state, there's a Democratic governor, the senators, it's majority. But now, on a federal level, on a national level, every election, we get promised all this shit, right? And if you look into history, if you look into the power of the presidency, the promises that are made, there's no way, not enough money for them to be able to fulfill those promises, right? But they prey on the fact that most people, especially Raza, they're going to vote Democrat no matter what. It's always no matter what. I don't care who the Republican is. I don't care who the independent is. I don't care. They're not for us. And at some point you have to ask yourself, like, all the years of voting for the same party and the same people and never making them work for your vote, never holding them accountable and saying, you're not getting my vote, period. Like a whole block of just saying, you know what, this time around, if it doesn't happen, you don't get my vote next time. And sticking to it. To me, it's just, you just got to ask yourself, has my life gotten better? All these years voting for the same fucking people. What has it gotten me? Because, they say that the rich vote for the Republicans and the poor vote for the Democrats. And I say the same people are voting for the same party. And that's part of the problem. There's no way that Raza block in this country can all get together and agree, hey, let's do this. But imagine if everybody just registered independent. If the Democrats started noticing that their registered voters in California, the numbers drop hugely. This is one of the most important states, if not the most important state, because of how populous it is and the electoral votes that we have in this state when it comes to the presidency. But you see, like, when the next presidential election comes up and all these news commentators put up the map, right? They will already have California blue. They will already have certain states blue and certain states red. That's a problem. It's a problem that, okay, you guys know I always get sidetracked, but I hopefully always bring it back around. History always repeats itself. It's a proven fact. It always will repeat itself. You just need to pay attention. You can see what's coming. So, if you look at Europe and all the European countries, their history of warfare with each other and their revolutions. Let's just talk about revolutions. The number of revolutions in those European countries. You can grab a book and you can read about all the revolutions over there, right? I personally believe that right now the United States is in the midst of a revolution. It's not going to be what happened in the past where there's militaries fighting each other and there's generals and all that. No, it's political parties. And it's political parties that, if you look at it, if you just take away your own personal opinions of each party and you listen to the rhetoric, they hate each other. And when you get your hate and your feelings involved, it becomes now wanting to hurt the other rather than take care of your family. Right? And if they're supposed to be whatever party representing us, but yet their thing is to hurt the other party, how does that benefit anyone? And I had recorded a video similar to this before on this topic, and then I said, nobody would be interested. But with this election coming up and with the shooting that happened in El Paso, and people wanting to immediately bring political parties into it. And I already talked about the media. The media is not, in my case, for example, real quick, they said it was a drive-by. Nobody was in a car, right? But they kept promoting it that way. It was a drive-by shooting. It didn't happen like that. And there was a lot of facts that it's crazy, man. Everybody who's been arrested, who they made their case high profile, or they even reported on it, they reported facts that aren't true. But they sound better to get their news out there, get more ratings or more of their paper sold or their magazine, whatever. But the media is a weapon. And I hope you guys understand, media is a weapon. Hollywood itself, I'm not going to talk about who created Hollywood, but Hollywood was created by a certain group of people to control the dialogue. And it's a group of people that throughout history has been enslaved more than anyone. And so they created that, and it dictates how they're portrayed and pushes their message, and it has branched out, and it's just crazy, man. There's so much shit, man. I gotta head off to work, but I wanted to make sure I put this video together because I wish people would open up their eyes, open up their ears, shut down their own opinions, and just look and listen. What has each party done for you and to hurt you? Just think about it, man. All right, I'm out.